This podcast is a proud member of the UUOP Network.
Are you ready to go the distance with Trisha's Disney pick? Or will Melinda deliver a Jurassic-sized knockout punch with her universal choice on this episode of Theme Park Throwdown? Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of Theme Park Throwdown. I am Trisha. You can find me on Trisha Travels on Facebook and Trisha Travels 85 on Instagram. And
I'm Melinda. You can find me at Melinda's Magical Adventures everywhere.
oh my God, I love your energy, people. I'm just loving your energy right now. Anyway, speaking of being energized, I am fired up and not in a good way. All right. Before we get into our main topic, we have a couple things to discuss. The first is the makeover of Rock and Roller Coaster, which is going to be debuting May 26th, 2026. I wonder if they picked that number on purpose. Anyway, so it is now Rock and Roller Coaster featuring the Muppets because Disney has to make every ride name about 50 words long. Anyway, the full list has been released now of songs that you can get. And from my understanding, it'll be like Guardians where you get one song for the full duration of the ride instead of like a smattering of pieces. So
yeah.
These are the songs, and I'm going to read them off, and then I need to know Melinda's response.
And then we're going to discuss.
Oh yeah, I'm heated right now. So the first song it's literally called "Song 2" by The Blur. It's sung by the Electric Mayhem, so it's the group that's being featured in the ride. The next song is "Born to Be Wild" by Steppenwolf, featuring Camilla the Chicken. Okay,
who doesn't talk?
Camilla the
she
chicken.
Clucks.
I hope you all like chickens. Also,
are we going to hear a chicken clucking the whole time? Can we not? This
is gonna be like conga for me.
Not do the Muppets.
Burn. All right, then we've got "Love Roller Coaster" by the Ohio Players, featuring Jennifer Hudson and Questlove. Okay, I love Questlove. I had no clue what the song was. I had to look it up.
No. All right, you and I are completely opposite then, because this song will be scarred into my brain forever as the tanning bed scene from Final Destination 3. I cannot hear this song without thinking of that scene. And so help me God, if I ever go on that roller coaster and I get this song, I'm rioting. Just no.
That wasn't a great choice for a roller coaster. Featured on a horror movie.
Whatever.
And then we've got we've got Rock Till You Drop, featuring the original artist Def Leppard. Okay, I give you one. You have one. I better get that song every single time. I don't want a chicken. All right. And finally, we have "Walking on Sunshine," which was originally sung by Katrina and the Waves, and it's featuring Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson.
So
I love this song. I don't mind Kelly Clarkson. She's talented. I don't particularly listen to her stuff, but she's talented. She's good. But I love this song. And I just don't. I just hate the Muppets. I hate the Muppets. And I love Aerosmith. Just.
So.
I couldn't say just renew the contract.
Okay, it's Rockin' Roller Coaster, not Teen Bop from the 90s roller coaster, okay? Kelly Clarkson was the first winner of The Voice. How many
American
years
Idol.
has that been?
No, you gotta go way back further than The Voice.
That's right. American Idol. See, this is how much I'm angry. I can't even keep my show straight.
I know. I know she's
on The Voice as a judge right now.
A judge.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Good for you. Those who can't sing judge, I guess. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, she's spitting fire.
Sorry, Kelly Clarkson. You'll
Trisha is
never actually watch this.
pissed.
The thing is that, okay, they get rid of Aerosmith. They're like, they're not relevant. They're old. You pick songs that are older than Aerosmith. I had
Yeah.
to look some of these
Yeah.
up. Why? Okay, I'm done now.
No, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Okay, first of all, if you've listened to our other episodes or you've listened to Portkey Passport, y'all know my hatred of the Muppets. I've never liked them. I've never understood them. I am just not a Muppet girly. I also absolutely love Aerosmith, and so I'm devastated to see them go, because it was always like I would create playlists of like Aerosmith songs to listen to on the plane on my way to my Disney trips, because it got me excited to be in Disney and go on this ride. Like, the two are connected for me. And I understand the Muppets have a huge fan base, and with the closure of Muppet Vision 3D and the whole Muppets Courtyard area, they wanted a way to keep the IP relevant in the parks. I get it, because there are people who feel like the Muppets are like the best thing ever. So, congratulations. You get this ride now. You've ruined it.
And you get to listen to a chicken cluck at you for over 2 minutes. Have fun with that.
I can definitely tell you I will not be doing this ride anywhere near as often as I used to. I don't know if I'll be doing it much at all, really.
Yeah, I know
I
I'll
just-
ride it once, because
Right.
you have to experience. It's a little bit of FOMO, and
Absolutely.
I don't mind.
I want to know what it's
mind the
about. I want to know what the
Muppets.
actual experience is like. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind the Muppets. The thing that I'm just a little disappointed about, and I get it. Okay, I do love Guardians for the rewritability, but when you get
Yeah.
a song you don't like, it kind of, you feel deflated on the
It's
attraction.
rough. It's rough.
And
Frickin'
I
Conga,
don't
man.
I don't really care about most of these songs on this list.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a
Yes.
personal connection with them the way, like,
Yeah.
I remember, like, I can stay awake just to hear you. Like, come on, man. Like,
I
that is like
know.
an anthem from my, like, teen years, and
I know.
and, like, he's relevant. He was in the Pirates, like, franchise. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sad. I love the quirkiness of the Muppets. I'm glad that parks, go for all fandoms. I just
Yeah.
feel like this was a misstep, honestly. I'm disappointed. I'm usually not. I'm usually like, okay, you changed, like, Pirates of the Caribbean, you changed
Yeah.
Tiana's, which
Change has
I
got
think
to
is
happen.
great, but this one, I think they missed the mark a little bit.
Yeah.
They should have left an Aerosmith song in there. They deserved that.
That would
And
have
not
been
with a chicken.
interesting, actually. Yeah, I would have liked that as well, as just like an homage to the past and
No,
the good rock
instead
and
they're
roll it goes.
like, haha, Aerosmith, Def Leppard, come on in. Which I love them, but still, it's sort of like I spit on your shoe. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
totally
okay.
with you there.
I
Yeah.
believe you had some thoughts on something else that is
But
Universal
yeah, let's
related.
talk about another replacement that we don't know really, but we do know, and I'm also not happy about. So I wanted to bring up the fact that we now officially have work walls up in Islands of Adventure surrounding speak, Melinda, surrounding the old Poseidon's Fury building, which are our first official, like, signs, I guess, of the upcoming demolition of the Lost Continent. It's time, obviously. The Lost Continent is an absolute shell of itself, of its former self, at least. But I think its downfall started with the opening of Hogsmeade And I mean, Lost Continent used to extend all the way back. It had the dueling dragons. It had the
Mhm.
Flight of the Hippogriff. Used to be the Flying Unicorn. It had Merlin's Restaurant. It used to be this really giant, expansive area. And I really do think that when they opened Hogsmeade and that all started, and it kind of cut off half of the land, that was a sign of what was to
Mhm.
come in the future. It held out as long as it could. I was in the park on the last day of operations for Poseidon's Fury, so I got to do it on the last day. It was so much fun. It was such a cool experience. Like, was that it's not a ride. Was that attraction the best? No, of course it wasn't. But it was different and it was cool, and
Yeah.
there aren't many things like that. Um, and so I am sad to see it go, but the landscape of the land is just so iconic. I am
Mhm.
so sad to see that giant fist and the trident go because
Yeah.
that and the big foot, and I'm very sad. I'm very sad about that, and I really am nervous about what they're going to do with Mythos. I love Mythos. It is
Yeah.
I'm going to say Mythos is probably my favorite restaurant in Islands or Universal or City Walk. I don't know if I can
Oh,
include
wow.
Epic on that list. But in like the Legacy Park area, I think that's probably my favorite restaurant. I absolutely love Mythos, so don't touch it. You can rename it. It's fine. But I would even be be sad to see like the interior architecture go.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's just such a cool space. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay, they could stand to redo the booths that look like the crowns with the purple velvet. That those can go. But like I mean, I've said this before, and you know this, sitting on the back patio of that restaurant is my favorite place in any of the parks. I absolutely love it there. So mm,
Yeah.
so we'll
Like,
see. I know it's got to happen.
yeah.
Again, change is inevitable. We need to just deal with it, and both Disney and Universal have come out with some really amazing things in the, recent past. And so hopefully they surprise us. Um,
Yeah.
knowing that it's probably Pokemon is not thrilling for me, but we've talked about that before. That's just not my thing. Um,
Yeah.
but hopefully what they
I
do is amazing.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with Pokemon because I grew up my brother's 8 years younger than me, so, like, I remember when
Cool.
it first started hitting the States, and he got into,
Yeah.
like, everything, like, we had Game Boy Color because that's how old I am. We had, the trading card game, we watched the
Oh
cartoon
yeah.
TV show, so I
I
was really
traded cards on the bus.
familiar.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it, but I don't have the connection to
The
Pokemon that I do
connection.
to other. Yeah. And I think one thing that I'm hoping, I don't know what they're going to do with that space where Sinbad's stage show used to be, because it's like literally a pit. If you pull the benches out, like, are you filling
Yeah.
this with sand? Like, what is happening here? But
Yeah.
that was one of the saddest experiences I've ever had at Universal. Was when they like one time we got in a little bit late, and so we lined up for Hagrid's, and at that point they had us queuing across the
The
back row
extended
of,
queue. Yeah.
and I was like, this is devastating to look at.
I
It's this
know.
beautiful, like, giant space, and it's just sitting unused and vacant, and it was like,
Yep.
that's so sad.
I
Um,
mean,
yeah.
we know that Universal is king of the let's leave a stadium empty and not do anything with the space. I mean, what are we up to now? Like that, like four
Yeah.
auditoriums that we do nothing with between the two
Yeah,
legacy parks? Like,
I hope they convert it to something else if they're not gonna use
yeah,
it, and I understand stuff gets
yeah.
used well, that wouldn't impact HHN, right?
No, No.
So
The
yeah,
only
get
thing
rid of
that
it
is
and
used
do
for
something.
HHN is the only thing used for HHN is the Fear Factor Stadium and Universal Studios. Because
Yeah,
HHN is only Universal, it's not Islands
yeah,
of
yeah.
Adventure. There was 1 year where they had it in Islands of Adventure too, and they haven't since then, so wah.
I yeah. I think the other thing I'm
HHN
a little
everywhere.
or not, it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's gonna be really funny, come the end of the year when I'm kicking and screaming my way out of the houses and I come back, like, usually I'm the person that was like,
Oh,
"That was awful!" And then, like,
Uh-huh.
I have a moment and I'm like, "Actually, it wasn't as bad." Like, I kinda
I'm
liked it.
so curious to see what you're gonna be like in October, because 'cause we're
Yeah.
going
No.
mid-September.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm excited to try something new, but the one
Yeah.
other thing I was gonna say is that if they convert it to see, I grew up also with, Zelda, and there was talks that it was gonna be Hyrule, but now there's, like they're thinking they'll probably expand that as part of Epic.
Epic.
I just
Mhm.
it's gonna change how you enter Ho like, right now, it kind of flows well into
Yeah.
Hogsmeade, and if it's,
Yeah.
like, Pikachu and then the
Super crazy
Hogwarts
bright
Express.
colors and stuff, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, I just feel like that's gonna be a really, like, stark transition. So,
I
I
get
don't
that, but
know.
then I also think about, like, okay, you go from, uh, Dr. Seuss into Lost Continent, and that's kinda the same.
Maybe they'll put,
So
like, a forest or something on the backside to, like, ease
of
the
Hogsmeade to kinda
transition.
cut it off. Yeah. I
And then they
also,
can
like,
go
getting through to Hogsmeade for the next couple years while this is under construction, I'm sure is gonna be a friggin' nightmare. Everybody's gonna have to go down that
Yeah,
bypass bridge in front of Velocicoaster, and no thank you. It's enough of a
yeah.
nightmare right now when they have the bridge in front of Hogwarts closed down,
Oh, yeah.
and that's
I
on the
wonder
back end of
how
the land, not on the front of the land.
I wonder how they're gonna queue, like, for Hagrid's, and that's gonna be a nightmare of
It
people
is.
on that side.
It is. 'Cause to get to Hogsmeade from Seuss, you're gonna have to go down the bypass bridge, go up into
Mhm.
Jurassic Park, and go in the back way, go, like, backwards through the Jurassic Park gates, go over that bridge. Maybe that's why they were doing construction
Mm.
on that bridge in front of Hogsmeade now, is because
Oh.
they know that that's gonna get so much more foot traffic in the next couple years
Rein
because everybody and their mother is gonna have to go
reinforcement.
across that bridge. They're
Oh my
adding
gosh.
supports to the bridge.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's the last thing they need is to have a bridge collapse, and the only way to get in and out of that area. That's crazy
Oh
to
my
think about,
god.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, lessons learned, uh,
We hate
get a
change.
ho that, get a hotel, on site, take advantage of the early hour, and then leave and don't go back to Hogsmeade until the next day. I think that's a
That sounds
takeaway
about right.
here.
That sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's inevitable. It's gotta happen. I'm glad
Yeah.
something is happening, but we'll see.
I
I'm a creature of habit.
I having that other entry though is going to be I hope they don't have to close it for too long. Like, that's gonna be
Yeah.
really annoying to have to go oh my god. I don't even wanna think about it.
Yeah. I know.
Ugh.
But I don't know, short of I mean, they are gonna have to do, I guess, what they did when they were building Diagon Alley, and they just put work walls all the way down on either side, and it's just a tunnel of walls that you're walking through, so you can't see anything. Um,
Super
I,
picturesque.
I mean, I guess that's better than the
Yeah.
alternative that we were just talking about. It's probably like a necessary evil, but this sucks.
Yeah. I mean, one thing now granted, Epic has its own issues, but one thing that Universal does better than Disney is they stay on time or
They're
ahead of
quick.
schedule.
They're
So
snappy
hopefully
with stuff.
this turnaround will go quick and, you know,
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can, as long as there's no rides with chickens, I'll be okay. So,
Well, I'm really curious to see too, how long it takes them to make an announcement, an official announcement about the replacement for the land. Um,
a week
considering
before it
like
opens.
terms of right, I know. Now that's the reverse of what you just said, where like Disney, you know what's coming years in advance before the plans are even before they even have a blue sky idea, they're throwing
Mhm.
what it is out there. But Universal, you're not finding out that Velocicoaster is Velocicoaster. You think it's a churro stand until the day it opens. So
I mean, I wish I like Universal's approach better of the 2 approaches because there's so many things that Disney has to backtrack on that we
yeah.
don't have, and it's really
Yeah.
hard not to forget those things, and I feel like more recently, they've been a lot more careful about what they've shared.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're, like, actually doing stuff for Cars Land in Magic Kingdom, it's like, "Oh, this is really happening." That's a
Yeah.
first in,
And
like,
I
6
feel like
years.
yeah, and I feel like with the new leadership with Josh, um, like he came in literally day one and was like, "Hey, all this stuff you have for Cars Land and Villains Land, not big enough. Let's go bigger." And he used to be CEO of Disney Parks and Resorts. And
Mhm.
so he knows what he's talking about in that area. He knows what people want. And so I'm hoping that we start to see, improvements on that side of it with Disney too.
Yeah. And it's only gonna we've said this before, it's only gonna help everybody. Like, if they come out with
Of
a
course.
stellar attraction, Universal's gonna wanna respond when they expand Epic, and it's like, we
Absolutely.
benefit as long as the technology is advanced enough to work all the time.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think a prime example of that is Villains Land because people have been clamoring for years about wanting a Villains Land and Disney never
Mhm,
pulled the trigger and then here Epic comes with Darkmoor and they see how much love people have for the dark side of
mhm.
things and
Yeah.
what you can do with it if it's done correctly and now they're like, "Oh, okay. Really?"
I think I think too, they shouldn't overlook this. I don't wanna say it's, like, simple to build a roller coaster, but in this day and age, the simplicity of a really good roller coaster goes a
Yeah.
long way, and
Yeah.
I hope that they keep that in mind because there was the whole talk about there being a Maleficent-themed coaster. I don't know if that's still on the table, now that they're going
There's
back
so
to
many
the drawing
things.
board, so
Yeah, there's so many things being thrown out. There's like the Maleficent coaster. There's a Maleficent boat ride. There's a lot of rumors about a Emperor's New Groove Kronk pull the lever ride. Which, like, if that
oh my
happens, I
god,
will be
yes.
there opening day
That
because
needs to be the roller
Emperor's New Groove is top 3 favorite Disney movies for me. I
Mm.
absolutely love that movie. My husband and I quote it every single day. I will die. I will die.
Okay,
So
here's the deal. I'm making this statement right now, we're gonna make this happen. If they do an Emperor's New Groove roller coaster, I will dress up as Kronk, unless you really want that role. You can be Yzma,
I
and we are
I
gonna
will fight
go,
you
and
for
we're
that.
we will we will
No,
go,
I'll
we are
be
gonna
Yzma. I'll
ride
be Yzma.
this.
Hell yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Oh,
we
and
are.
you better believe that I will be the one pulling the lever. Like, oh my
I'll
god,
let
we
you
have to
have
make
that. You're the Disney girl.
how do
I'll
we
let you have
petition
that.
Disney?
I
How do we
know.
petition
Oh,
Disney?
people have been doing it for years. Trust me. I can't see it really happening because I don't think that's a big enough property for them to do one of the 3 Villains Land rides, you know, about it.
Yeah,
But damn, I would love it.
it'd be so good if they did. Oh my god.
I know. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't
Anyways,
know, take a chance, Disney. Anyway. Okay, getting back on track because we like, I don't know, Hogwarts and the Hogwarts Express and everything else, we've been totally derailed here. But, our winner, um, over the battle for, best ride scent, Pirates of the Caribbean versus ET, was E.T. And honestly, as the Disney fan, okay, that's fine. Nobody likes bromine.
Hey, like I
So
said, it's not even the bromine. I actually like the bromine scent. It's the weird, like, sweet tobacco smell that I just can't get around. But ET is
there,
the
I
best.
don't know. There are too many things I feel like because when you get far enough in, there's like a smoky like fire scent that's similar. I think it's pretty much the exact
That's
same
what I'm
thing that's
talking
on.
about, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have that when the Rome burning on Spaceship Earth. So, but
Yeah.
there's like that, the bromine. There's just too many things going on in there, and ET is like, this is the scent. This is what he smells
Ye
like.
yeah. And it did change for a while, like, shortly post-COVID. I know there were people who talked about, it being because the company that created that scent went out of business during COVID, and so they had
Mm,
to temporarily switch to a different company or a different scent until they could, I don't know, make it themselves or find somebody else who can make it. I don't know what the logistics of it were, but there were a few
okay.
times. I'm trying to remember when I went. It was November of 2022. Um, and it was different, not in a good way. It
Mm.
was the pine was so strong, it was almost like astringent, and,
Oh, mm,
it I don't know, it was just different and it was bad. My mom
okay.
was with me and, like, we rode the ride and her eyes were, like, burning, she said, because the smell was so strong and it was so just off-putting. So, I was
Okay.
very happy when they brought the original scent back, and now she's back to her former glory, and everything is right with the world.
So
So,
So based on what you said, it sounds like ET was doing some deep cleaning during the pandemic,
I
and that's where you got that
yeah, I
pine
don't know.
smell.
I mean, because people used to say right, like, people used to say a long time ago, "Oh, it's not actually a scent that they pump out, it's just the mildew smell from the building and all the water in the building." No, no. But
Pretty sure they
so
clean it.
that's why you can smell it 150 yards outside the ride? No. What?
Str- Strongest mildew ever.
Right. They got some serious black mold going on in this building, but come on in. Let's go. No, come on, people.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I love it.
Anyway, yeah.
All right. So, on to our main topic in preparation for summer. And it was 75 here. Now, granted, like 2 days ago it was snowing, but we're getting glimpses of
Ugh.
what what it's going to be like.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're gonna tackle water rides today from both parks. So I'm gonna let Melinda kick it off.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So water rides might not be everybody's cup of tea, and I totally understand that. It can be really difficult, especially if you have like really parked pack days like me, where you plan to be in the parks from EPA until park close, and you don't want to get drenched and have to like slosh around for hours in wet clothes. But Universal's water rides are banger attractions that I feel like everybody needs to do at least once, just so you can say you've done it, so you can have the experience, so you can know what's out there. Expand your horizons, people. But I am going to go in order of soak factor and how wet you get on these rides. And I will maybe soak factor doesn't sound so good. Hindsight's 2020, people. I'm gonna start with the ride that gets you the least wet, which is the Jurassic Park River Adventure. River Adventure opened on May 28th of 1999. Now, I added this on every ride in my notes here. All of these rides opened on May 28th, 1999 because they opened with the opening of Islands of Adventure. So, I'm just going to put that out
Mm.
there now. They all opened on the day that Islands of Adventure opened. This was the second iteration of the River Adventure. because Universal Hollywood's version opened June 21st, 1996. And the like most interesting tidbit and the craziest thing about Hollywood's version is that this ride was in development and being planned before the movie Jurassic Park even began production. So they were banking on this ride and its production being able to kind of serve as marketing for the Jurassic Park movie. Steven Spielberg, obviously very involved in the Universal Parks, and he had his hand in all of it. He was giving the ride developers the scripts and things so they could go through the scripts to find different plot points and things like that to add into the ride. But the actual construction of the ride was completely contingent on the movie's success. So they didn't start building the ride until after the movie came out and they saw that it was a giant blockbuster hit. So, again, that was Hollywood's version, not Florida's. But I just wanted to throw that in there because I think it's super interesting. But thank goodness the movie did well, because this is one of my favorite rides ever, anywhere. You start off on a leisurely tour on a large raft that seats about 25 people. It's like 5 people for a row and 5 rows in the boat. You are in this large raft that goes through the Jurassic Park gates, which is the coolest part. They play the little part of the theme song, the do-do-do-do-do, as the gates open and your boat goes through the gates. So it's a bit of a surreal moment if you are a big Jurassic Park fan, and one that cannot be missed. You go into Ultrasaur Lagoon, Stegosaur Springs, and finally into Hadrosaur Cove, where you pass several very sorely aging animatronic dinosaurs, and there will be more about that in a minute. Very, very sad-looking animatronic dinosaurs, as the narrator describes the different species that you're seeing and where they would live and what they would eat and blah, blah, blah. But once you enter Hadrosaur Cove, a usually mysteriously missing hadrosaur, you never know if that animatronic is going to be functional or not. It's supposed to pop up out of the water and knock your boat off the course, but sometimes your boat just gets knocked around by some gurgling water over on the side. But you get knocked off the tour's course and it puts you right where you don't want to be, unless you are a thrill seeker like me, into the raptor paddock. You spend the rest of the ride dodging raptors and spitting Dilophosauruses, which might get you as wet as you get going down the drop, depending on where you're sitting on this ride, before you plunge down the 85-foot drop to avoid the roaring T-Rex, who is so iconic. Like, I still remember the TV commercials from like the early 2000s for Universal of this ride, where you just see this giant T-Rex coming at you and seemingly trying to eat this boat and being like, I need to do that. It's very iconic. But so that's the ride in a nutshell. This ride can either keep you totally dry, or it can completely soak you. And it all depends on where you are sitting on this raft. If you want to avoid the splash, you need to sit as middle of the boat as possible. So you need to get one of the middle rows. So either probably row 3 or 4. I would not go row 2, which is going to be better than row 1, but 3 or 4, you should be pretty safe. And the middle of the bench on that row. You can request this if you would like. Tell the team member at the front of the line, like, I need to sit in the middle, or I want to get the least wet, and they will tell you where to sit. Just be nice. Those towards the rear of the boat are going to get a little bit more wet than those in the middle, but it shouldn't be too bad. Those in the front, be prepared, and I hope you wore waterproof mascara, because it's an absolute doozy. I think I've told the story before of the first time I took my son. He had watched videos of the ride and he was so excited for it. He had looked forward to it for years. And he was finally tall enough and he was like ready to go. And then he found out it was a water ride and he was like, "Oh." And I was like, no, don't worry. You don't get that wet. Because I personally, I don't think I had ever, in the probably hundreds of times I'd been on this ride, sat in the front row. That's what we got. We got front row right on the end. It was no
Oh,
bueno.
dear.
No bueno, people. I got as wet on this ride as I have in the past on like Popeyes, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes. So it really can be a doozy. So just word of warning. Two little notes about this ride. The first one being, and this applies to all water rides. So all 3 rides that I'm going to talk about here. They do have lockers available towards the entrance of the ride, but for these water rides, the lockers are not complimentary. These are some of the only lockers outside of a ride like this that you do have to pay for no matter what. I'm not sure what the rates for the lockers are now. I probably should have looked that up. Sorry. But I mean, it's not super expensive, but those are available. Second, this ride is currently, unfortunately, undergoing a very, well, I guess it's not unfortunate. It's a good thing. Is currently closed because it's undergoing a very lengthy refurbishment. We're looking at about 11 months of refurbishment here. And it's hopefully a refurbishment and not a retheme. And so it's going to be closed until November of this year. So hopefully we will see some sprucing up of those said very aging, sad animatronic dinosaurs once it returns in November. So next, we are going to up the soak factor. What?
Breaking information.
What?
It says here, it's nothing exciting, I swear. It says here that for 90 minutes, you get a one-time use locker costing between $5 and $6. There you go, folks.
Okay. All right. I thought you
The
actually
chicken is
had
still going to be
breaking
part
news.
of Rock and Roller Coaster. Nothing to say to that.
Oh, no. All right. Well, okay. There you go. So lockers that are not horribly expensive. It's a little bit of a ripoff. Your stuff down by your feet, probably not going to get wet. I'll just say that much. But if you have like a change of clothes or something that you want to throw in the locker and so that you can sit in the front row, might be a good idea. Anyways, moving on, we're going to up the soak factor a little bit, or maybe a lot of bit, and head to Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls. This ride, again, like I said, opened with the opening of Islands of Adventure in 1999, is located in Toon Lagoon, which I think is very aptly named, considering that both rides in this land will completely drench you and make you look like you jumped in a lagoon. This is a traditional log flume ride, which puts you in a log that seats 4 people in a single file, front to back seating pattern. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. 4 people front to back. Taller people beware. Getting in and out of this ride vehicle is tougher than getting in and out of the Space Mountain rockets. And that is saying something. I am 5'1".
What you're saying.
What?
I'm 5'10". I'm not getting off. I'm not getting off the ride.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I am 5'1", and I don't like getting in and out of this ride. So,
geez.
And my husband is like 6'2.5". I think like the 2 times he's done it in how many years, and I feel like both times when he got off it, he's like, I can't do this. So it can be a little tricky. But your log will take you through several cartoon scenes from Dudley Do-Right, including really funny theater with like parodies of movies like Jaws and Silence of the Lambs. This is just kind of a funny, like quippy ride. Just little off the wall witty things. Lots of commentary from the cast. It's just fun. It's just funny and goofy. So you go through the theater with the parodies of the movies. You see the kidnapping of Dudley Do-Right's girl Nell, and then her rescue off the train tracks before you drop 75 feet seemingly straight down. I don't know what the angle of this drop is, but even though this drop is smaller, it's 10 feet shorter than River Adventure, I feel like this one is steeper. I don't know what those angles are. I know this one was 50 degrees, and then they were having problems of people complaining that it was too steep. So then they lessened it to 45 degrees, but I don't know what the angle is for Jurassic Park River Adventure. But this one seems so damn steep. It seems like you invert in on yourself.
Oh yeah. Just watching it, I'm like, how do they not fall out?
It's wild. It's wild. You do have lap bars on this ride. And then you proceed to get absolutely drenched no matter where in the log you're sitting. It is not like a Jurassic Park River Adventure where you can game the system. If that wasn't bad enough, there is then another little mini hill, like just a little bump, where you then get splashed again, and you can also get shot by water guns that are aimed from people standing above who can pay $1 to shoot you with water. So there's all
Wow.
that. So even though you may get totally sloshed, like I said, this ride is just cute and fun and goofy. One thing that I love and is perfect for this podcast is that there are quite a few Disney digs in this ride. Now, Universal likes to do this. They like to poke fun at Disney, as seen recently. I don't know if you have seen it, Trisha, but in the new All Hallows Eve boutique area, they have a large dino head, and the box underneath it says something, I can't remember exactly what it is, but references the extinct dinosaur ride at Animal Kingdom. So they like to do this, but in Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls, there are several, it feels like the whole ride is kind of a Disney dig. Or parody of some sort. The first is you are in a room where lights shine on a bunch of forest animals in a black and white color scheme while a bunch of instruments are being played, which looks like it was pulled straight from Splash Mountain. They then play off Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, where there's a scene with a giant train light that is seen and the sound of the engine like coming at you, which kind of is a scene that was pulled right from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Another one is where there's a bear and a beaver on a wall, like they're like talking heads. They're having a conversation, making fun of the Country Bear Jamboree, saying one says, "Whoever heard of a country singing bear?" And the other one says, "Well, I guess it's a small world after all." I mean, you can't get more direct than that. Finally, the last dig comes at the very end of the ride where a villain is like being held in, he's been caught by the police, so he's being held, and he attempts to convince a beaver that's holding a key in its mouth to give the keys to him, much like the dog with the keys on Pirates of the Caribbean.
All right.
So, as if I didn't love this ride enough, there you go. After that, we're going to move on to the real doozy. Popeye and Bluto's Bilge-Rat Barges. Again, located in Toon Lagoon. Again, opening in 1999. This is a round raft style ride, looking much like Cali River Rapids and Animal Kingdom, which I know you're going to talk about later. They could not be more different. Could not be more different, people. You load up to 12 people onto a raft, and this ride is just not for the water shy. It will take you through the journey of Popeye trying to rescue his beloved olive oil from the villain Bluto. I am sensing a theme with the Toon Lagoon water rides. I guess it's all just about the hero rescuing the damsel in distress. So, there's that. Just a sign of the land being very old and, maybe needing an update or two. But riders climb, fall, and bounce through several different scenes, absolutely filled with waterfalls, waterfalls, and more waterfalls. They are
Mhm.
everywhere.
Mhm.
They are unavoidable.
Mhm. Mhm.
There isn't any big drop like the other two rides that I talked about,
No.
but the entire ride, it, as wet as you get, as chaotic as it is, that is why it is so fun. It is just this
Mhm.
journey. No seat is safe.
No.
Obviously, it doesn't really matter where you sit because you are on a round raft that is going to turn as you are going through these rapid areas. Um, but you are just completely just jumped in the pool with your clothes on, drenched from head to toe.
Mhm.
Seriously,
Mhm.
do not ride this ride unless you are perfectly fine with every stitch you have on being completely soaked through.
Mhm.
But the best experience, some of the best experiences I've ever had in the Universal parks are on this ride because I absolutely love going on this ride with people who have never been on it before and have no idea what to expect. As long as they are good natured about it and they don't
Oh
like
my goodness.
freak out because everything is wet. And I don't think I've ever been on it where somebody is upset because of how wet they get. I've always had good experiences where people are happy and just living in the moment and it's fun. It's absolutely hilarious. And even though it might be a pain in the butt, the experience is 100% worth it. I admittedly have not done this one in a few years because most of the trips that I've been taking over the past couple years, I'm trying to get so much done that
Mhm.
it's not really much of like a vacation for me. I'm just go, go, go. And I don't want to take the time to have to deal with being soaking wet. But
Yeah.
talking about it
Yeah.
again, like reminds me of how much I love it. And I have realized that like I really do need to do it again. Because we
Yeah.
don't know how long this one's going to last either. I don't think Toon Lagoon is on the chopping block anytime soon, but inevitably it's gonna have to go. Um,
Yeah.
and so I I need to get my fill of it before that point. So
Um, I have only done Popeye. I didn't do the other 2.
okay, I know you had never done Jurassic Park, and that is
Yeah.
unacceptable. It's also unacceptable that we're gonna be there in September. You're not gonna be able to do it either because it's closed. But you haven't done Dudley either?
I don't I'm not the biggest fan of getting wet. And this harkens
Woman.
back to when I went to Disney as a kid. And
Okay.
okay, y'all, I'm gonna have to post a picture. Flannel should not be a material shorts are made out of. That's all I have to say. But yet it was, and it was a fashion back when I went when I was younger. And
Yes, I
I had
remember.
some I was on Splash Mountain. There was a lot of chafing after, and it kind of, like, turned
Oh,
me off of water rides, but when I was
okay.
there a couple years ago with my daughter, um now I have a history of vertigo. I'm, like,
Right.
had stuff to manage it. I see a chiropractor regularly, and I take medications for things, so I was skipping a lot of the rides that had giant drops because I just didn't know how my body would react. I cannot ride, unfortunately, Tower of Terror anymore. Like, I just no
Yeah.
amount of preparing for that movement is
Yeah.
good for me. But I've gotten to a point now where I can do every roller coaster at Disney. So I'm like, oh, probably start adding these water rides back in. It's just that we haven't been since I've
Yeah.
gotten things managed. So we did Popeyes, and we literally it was only like 70 degrees, the line was not long.
Oh,
We were
no.
came pre It was a spring break, we came prepared, we wore our swimsuits, like, I had, board shorts on for,
Yeah.
surfing and, like, a rash guard over, like a two-piece suit, and then my daughter
That's not
wore,
I'm gonna
like
interrupt you for 1 second. That is a good, I'm glad you said that. You can't just wear a bathing suit on this ride. You have to have clothing on. So, you
Yeah,
can wear, like you said, like, board shorts of some type or, like, shorts you just don't care about getting wet. But you do have to have some sort of shorts and some sort of shirt. You can wear ponchos.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how safe they're gonna
That's
keep you, but Yeah, you
They
do have to wear
don't keep
clothing.
we came prepared, and there were only 4 people. They had us kind of across from one another because the line was
Yeah,
so short because the temperature wasn't super hot,
that's
and the
typical.
people across from us were in ponchos, and by the end, we got off, we were all equally wet.
Yeah,
So, one thing I wanna say, though, particularly for that ride, because I can speak to it, they have a center, like, cone
yeah.
that's covered
It's like
with,
a
like, this
center
really
console
heavy.
almost.
Yeah, and it's covered with this really heavy, like, tarp type material, and I
Yep.
went into a store because I didn't really wanna pay the money to put stuff in a locker, um, and so I got a empty bag from the store, and I put all our stuff in that, and then I, like,
That's smart.
kinda, like, twisted it and, like, kinda tucked it and set it in there, and when I put
Yeah.
it in there, it was bone dry, so that was, like, encouraging, and when we got off, everything was dry, like, that however it's
Yeah.
designed, nothing gets in that penetrates that
The
center
fabric that
area.
they have yeah, the fabric that they have going over the top of it, like you said, it's really thick and it does go, like, all the way down, over the
Yeah.
sides, and so water
Yeah.
can't get up into it, because
Yeah.
it's like a I don't even know how you like a basin kind of that you put it in,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that is a good tip for sure. You can bring stuff on the ride that won't get wet, but don't wear it.
Yeah. But we had a great time on it. Like, I think it helped coming prepared. We ended up doing it too
Yeah.
closer to the end of the night. So it was like the last thing we did. And then the other 2 people got off, and my daughter's like, "Can we ride again?" And I was like, "Sure." And they're like, "You don't have," because that queue is really long. It's really like
Yeah, it is.
detailed and stuff. But
Yeah.
they're like, "You don't have to get off. There's not enough
That
people. We'll
is
just load your boat." And I was like, Thank you."
yeah. That is typical of this ride. I have heard that more of this ride than any other ride at Universal. They will just let you lap it if it's low crowds, if it's a low wait time,
Yeah.
which typically it
Yeah.
is. It is a kind of like a smart idea to go on it later in the night when you know, like, okay, we're about ready to head out. However, then sometimes you have to contend with a drop in temperature. And so
Yeah.
pick your
And
battles.
we just, like, I knew we were going straight back to the resort, so I just, like,
Yeah.
um I had, like, a towel, and we dried off as best we
Mhm.
could. She wore it, like, around her like a little blanket, and we were staying at Portofino, so we just walked back after that.
Perfect. Yeah.
So it was fine. I think if you either go in knowing like, "Hey, I'm okay being totally soaked," or you go in and
Mhm.
you're like, "I'm
Prepared.
prepared," you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good theming in these rides, both parks, that you don't wanna miss it. You wanna at least
Yeah.
experience it once, I would say,
Yeah.
minimally, which means I
Totally
have to go
agree.
on Dudley at some point.
It's fun. It's cute.
Okay. That
Anyways,
75-foot inverted drop has, I mean, not it's what it
it's
looks
not
like.
inverted, it just feels like it is.
Oh, even better. So, alrighty. So, I'm just gonna be straight honest. We know the outcome of this because I can't count pirates in, even though you do get splashed by a cannonball occasionally. But as Melinda said, Cali River Rapid is the same ride vehicle, boaticle, I don't as
Bodical?
I don't know. I feel like you need to put that on
Yeah.
there. um, as as Popeye, and I mean, we went. It was hot. It was in summer. It wasn't that many years ago, and I mean, and again, came prepared. I was wearing my water shoes. I had on the same exact outfit, and I was like, "Did I get wet anywhere?" Like, and
Yeah.
we had a full boat or whatever raft, and like nobody on the raft got wet. Um,
Okay.
so it was disappointing because I remember going when it first opened in 1999, March 18th. So it was just under a year after the Animal Kingdom Park had opened. Um,
Mm.
And the original working title was actually called Tiger River Run, and they were going to have it be like kind of like the safari where there were going to be animals along the river, but they
Oh,
realized very right? Yeah. They realized
yeah,
very
that
quickly that that could
logistically,
be
no.
yeah. When they joke
Yeah,
about that the tiger can jump
problematic.
however far on a in Jungle Cruise, like, they don't
Yeah,
need
no thanks.
tigers jumping in. And just the more so because Joe Rohde was the one who did a lot of this planning. He's very like aware of like animal needs and just conservation. And he was concerned about the well-being of the animals. Like it'd be very stressful having
Yeah.
like these, you know, boats flying past you all
Yeah.
the time. And more so, he wanted there to be a focus on conservation, which is how the ride got turned more to be focused on deforestation. So that's kind of how it starts, where you're like
Okay.
in a logging camp. It's very calm, very much like Jurassic Park. And then you kind of hit rapids. like I've whitewater raft. Like this was not anything like you kind of bump side to side and water would splash up. You're lucky if it got into the boat. I'd say the worst
Mm,
like thing was like your feet could get wet, but they do have a ring around the center kind of like column that you can put your feet up on. So
I
if you're
think
worried about
Popeyes
getting
has
your
that too,
yeah, yeah, not that it matters.
I think. Yeah, no,
you
there's so much water that gets into the boat that it doesn't matter.
yeah, you're deluged. So,
Yeah.
um, now the there is a slight drop on this one. You over the span of the attraction, you actually go up 90 feet, and it's kind of like a gradual
Oh,
like decline, with the largest drop being 30 feet, which I mean I think is like twice the
that's
size
pretty
of
big.
Pirates. It's like yeah, it's not like Jurassic Park size, but
Yeah, well, yeah.
um and each raft holds up to 12 people. You sitting around. Honestly, the best part of this attraction is the queue. It's very themed. They when Joe Rohde the Imagineer, we took people out to India to like get immersed in the culture and like bring ideas back. They actually brought back things that were like handmade, hand painted. We're talking like paintings and like idols. They had like prayer flags. They brought a fountain. Like I don't know
Wow.
how you check that in your luggage, but all these things they've brought back that are authentic to India and they use those in the queue.
Mm,
So I think that's
kinda
really
like,
neat. There's a lot.
Expedition Everest.
Yeah, same kind of
Yeah,
concept there.
that's cool. I
Um,
love that.
I feel like you actually get a lot of cultural immersion, like, in the queues in
Yeah,
Animal Kingdom.
I
Um,
agree.
and if you listen closely, they'll have radio going, and you can hear radio of the logging camp, which is, cutting
Oh,
trees illegally, and just awareness that these things actually do happen. Deforestation that's not being regulated still happens in the world. Um So it's he wanted to be more of a message that was being conveyed to people. Um, Something that I thought was really cute about this attraction is that, like the Jungle Cruise, each raft is named. So they have like the
uh,
Himalayan Hummer and like the Sherpa Surfer. So I think that's kind of fun. So like look for
yeah.
that because it's always just like a cute little detail. Um, they also pump smells and no, it's not black mold, into the attraction. So it's like jasmine and ginger. So it's kind of like those smells and Soarin' when you're by like the Taj Mahal,
Yeah,
which makes sense. They're both in the same
love.
area of the world.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say like there is a bank of lockers available when you walk up. It's on the left side. I believe they are free for this
Okay.
attraction,
Wait for
which is
Disney,
nice.
okay.
Not that you need them because we stayed
Yeah,
perfectly dry.
that
You know,
kinda sucks. That's backwards. Come on, Universal.
so just I mean, I'm not saying you can't get wet. We just didn't
Yeah,
experience it on the most recent time we were there. It seemed very calm. I remember going again as a
okay.
kid and like we walked off soaked. So
Okay.
they really have like tamed down the intensity level, and they wish they'd ramp it up a
Yeah.
little bit. But
Yeah. I've never been on it, so I have no idea.
the other tip that people should be aware of is that Animal Kingdom, if you're staying on site, typically opens like around 7:30. It's like insanely early, with like
Yeah.
actual park open at typically like 8 a.m. But they do close early, like 6. And that's
Mhm.
just to kind of align with like the animal schedules. But this attraction typically doesn't open until like 10 a.m. at the earliest. So
Oh.
don't go there right away. Do other things, and then
Yeah.
we lined up right around 9:45, and we were like pretty much toward the front of the line. Again, it was a hot day, like easily in the 80s by 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And fortunately, the attraction was down for an additional 30 minutes, so we just stood there for 45 minutes waiting. And I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
well, that sucks. We were trying to avoid having to wait 45 minutes for the
Yeah.
attraction.
That was the whole point.
But whatever, we got ice cream out of the deal, so hey, we'll take that because we waited outside the queue, so we were able to like run and grab snacks while we were waiting to get in. So just be aware that does have a different starting time than
Mhm.
the rest of the park. Now, one attraction you can get wet on, especially if you're in Disneyland, you will
Yeah.
basically sink your log, is
Yeah.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. um, I have to admit, I have not made this a priority since it was, renovated, and it's not because I
Mhm.
have anything against Tiana. Love her, love Princess and the Frog. Big fan of cooking. Um, it's just one of those things again where it's like you said, Melinda, I have so many things on my to-do list, and getting wet
Yeah.
is just gonna slow down, like, what I wanna get done in the day. I don't wanna have to, like,
Yeah.
rent a locker because with this one, there are no lockers in the area, so you have to rent a locker at the front of the park if you want to have a locker. So it's kind of a
Uh-huh.
hike to get to and from your stuff because it's all the way in the back of the park.
Uh-huh.
So convenience wise, it's just not an attraction that I've made time to go on. Um, so this one opened in on July 17th of 1989 in Disneyland, and it was originally called Zippity River Ride. And then in October 2nd, 1992, it joined Frontierland in Disney World, and they were both at that point named Splash Mountain, based on a now kind of questionable IP that Disney had used.
Uh-huh.
Um, we don't need to go into that. If you know anything about Disney, you heard about it in the past few years.
Yeah.
But the original concept was from an Imagineer called Tony Baxter. And when you were talking about Steven Spielberg, and then I was thinking about like J.K. Rowling with all the Harry Potter stuff, I was like, that is something that is so different. I mean, the Star Wars stuff and George Lucas, I don't even know how much he was really involved at that point because Disney owned the property by
Oh.
the time they put that in. But I just think
Yeah.
it's really interesting that Universal collaborates with like known figures in
Steven
cinematography, whereas
Spielberg.
like,
Yeah. Steven Spielberg
yeah,
runs those parks. He runs Universal. Steven Spielberg still in perpetuity gets 5%
oh
of
my God.
all income that the parks take in.
Wow.
Everything.
Go him.
5%
That's impressive. That's
forever.
impressive.
And he has he's a producer for the parks. He has put his foot down with ET because for years people have said get rid of ET and he says the hell I won't. And if you touch ET, I'm pulling my rights or
Yeah.
I'm pulling your
Ooh,
rights for everything. I mean, think about it. If we had to take Steven Spielberg out of those parks, you're losing Jurassic Park, you're losing Back to the Future, you're losing um ET, you're losing what else am I mean, anything that's still Jaws. You're
yeah, yeah,
losing what like the list goes on and on. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that is definitely a big difference, but it's because Disney has so many original IPs and Universal
Yeah,
doesn't. So,
yeah.
it's
I was
actually
just
kind of
thinking
a
about
slight
that.
at Universal.
Yeah. But, I talk about, like, Joe Rohde, Tony Baxter, and I'm the Imagineers, and I'm just like, "Oh, they have a creative team, and they're great."
Mhm.
But I just think it's, like, an interesting, it's an interesting, like, juxtaposition between the 2 companies and how they come up with their, like, content in the park.
Mhm.
But with that aside, so Tony Baxter also had a hand in Big Thunder, Star Tours, and then over on the West Coast, Indiana Jones adventure. So
Oh,
he's like, I would say, a pretty famous Imagineer if you know him.
okay.
Um,
Is he still
both att-
around? I wonder if he would be involved
he's
in the new Indiana Jones
he's
in
alive and
Disney World.
retired. He's
Okay.
like he's
Okay.
hung up his ears at this point. um,
Aw, okay.
but both attractions, like I had said, they've been renovated since closed in 2023 to make way for Tiana's adventures following after the movie. So if you've seen the movie, these
Uh-huh.
are like the whole story premise is she's looking for a band to play at a Mardi Gras party. So that's what the adventure you're on when you're on this boat ride now, is that there's a lot of new animal characters. They have returning, like Mama Odie, Lewis the
Louis.
alligator.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Louis.
there's like a lot of characters you will recognize. She's dressed more in like her adventure gear, like for hiking. So it's kind of nice to see them bringing in like different aspects of princesses besides like
Yes,
recreating the
I love
exact same
that.
story.
Yeah.
um I was impressed by this though. When I was reading these statistics, so there is the drop that they have there is only 50 feet. There I saw discrepancies
Okay.
that it was 52, 56, so 50 plus feet. But you end up getting up to speeds of 45 miles an hour. Like, that's impressive. That's faster than
That is
Space Mountain.
impressive.
um, and traveling at 45 miles an hour in 1,000,000 gallons of water, you can't stay dry. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, the design of the boats is kind of similar to Dudley. It's relatively narrow, though at least the one and out in Disney World, you have 2 seats or 2 to a seat, and there's 4 rows, so can sit up to 8
Mhm.
people. Um, like I said, my husband has ridden this with my daughter multiple times, and they've never come off dry, so I don't think you can really
Yeah.
get. Some people say if you're sitting more towards the back, that initial splash hits the people in the front, but
Yeah.
I think it's based more on weight. My husband is a big guy. He's 6'4". He's never survived the any splashes. So, just be prepared that you're gonna get wet. I would recommend to there's no real place to put your feet if you try to keep your shoes dry. So I would
Yeah.
recommend maybe bringing like sandals or something like flip-flops or water shoes that you can change into if you're worried about like blisters forming later in the day with wet shoes. And then just a couple of tips. Like I mentioned, there are no lockers in the vicinity. You have to get a locker if you want one at the front of the park. And then once you've celebrated survival of being drowned, head head towards Adventureland from Frontierland. Head towards Adventureland and stop by the Golden Oak Outpost. That is where they are now serving Tiana's beignets.
Yeah.
And they have a seasonal beignet. Right, I looked it up because I was like, "What is it right now?" And it's like kind of like a banana Foster's like beignet, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh, I'd be all
fancy."
over that.
So yeah, if you're looking for a sweet treat, that's a good place to stop for a snack after. So
Nice.
anyway,
Nice. I have seen I haven't been on this since it got rethemed to Tiana's. Last time I was on it, it was Splash Mountain, and I have never been out to California. But the stark difference between Disney World and Disneyland's versions of this ride. Holy crap. Because like I know you get wet on the Disney World one, but the Disneyland one, you literally, like you said, your log pretty much sinks. There are
Mhm.
feet of water in your log. You're in a swimming pool. You're in a portable swimming pool. It is absolutely crazy. It's
I
so
remember
unnecessary.
how low you're sitting, like, you
Yes.
will be sitting and water will go up your shorts, like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
very associated under your clothes.
Yeah. Water will go inside you.
So
Yeah. But I was kind of bummed that I didn't do Tiana's on this past trip. But again, like we've said, I had so much to get done. It
Mhm.
also never had less than like a, I don't know, hour-long line, and it's a tier
Yeah.
1 lightning lane. So it was like, I gotta
Yeah.
book Space Mountain. I can't. And then I just didn't
Yeah.
have the time throughout the day to add it on. So, but it does look really
Yeah.
cute. I love the retheming. It looks really sweet. I love Tiana's story. Um, so at some point I'll have to do it for sure.
Yeah. I I think for me, like, I wanna splurge and do like a like a Magic Kingdom resort and just do like a quick
Mm.
weekend and really just
Yeah.
do like I love Epcot and Magic Kingdom, I think are probably my even though Star Wars is in Hollywood Studios, it's there's so much of it is under construction right now.
Uh,
It's to me not worth the value to go over
sure.
there. But I would love like stay at the Polynesian. That's on my bucket list. And then
Me too. Let's go.
and then like that's I think one of the things as a travel agent and just as someone who like wants to see as much of Disney, you don't feel like you're taking much of a vacation. And I
No.
really want to like have just like a long weekend where I slow down and I do
Yeah.
these things that would normally skip, you know. And if you're staying at a park resort in that area and you get soaking wet, it's easy enough just to go back to your resort and change and come back out, you know, after a midday break.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that sometime. Make it happen.
I'm with you. I'll come with you.
Okay.
We'll do it. Goals. Anyways, all right, everybody, what do you think? Which one of us scored the most hits with this battle? Is it Popeyes or Tiana's? What do you think? We want to hear from you. Vote in our Who Won weekly poll on social media. We are at Theme Park Throwdown on Instagram, Facebook. You can watch video recordings of all of these episodes on YouTube. You can shoot us an email at themeparkthrowdown@gmail.com. Theme Park Throwdown everywhere. And if you need help planning your next vacation, you can go to portkeyvacations.com and fill out a quote request form. Request Trisha or I to be your advisor, and we can help you plan your next trip, no matter where it is. Could be Disney, could be Universal, could be anywhere you want. You could also individually send us a direct message through either of our social pages, and we'll help you out. Because, yeah, it's our job, but we also love to do it.
Mhm.
You can also check out all of our sister podcasts on the UUOP network. We've got the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, the Taste of Universal podcast, the unofficial Universal Great Britain podcast, the Port Key Passport, a Disney podcast for adults, the Theme Park Duo for your West Coast parks, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast, and Big Dumb Stuff for all things comedy and theme park. You can also check out our newest network newest network partner, goodness gracious, the Fudge Factor on YouTube for their park vlogs. And that is going to do it for this throwdown. So we will see you next week in the ring.
Bye.